And so that's what I mean by the silence of God. It's challenging because we have these promises that He's always there, that He's always around us, and He always hears us. At the same time, sometimes in long periods in our lives where it doesn't feel like that's the case. And so that's what I mean by the silence of God. And it's not just the biblical writers experience this too. So in Habakkuk, I think it's verse 2 of chapter 1, it writes, "How long shall I cry out to you, God, and you will not answer? Even cry out violence, and you will not save." And Psalm 74, it's basically David, I think it's David writing this extract where he's basically saying, God, where are you? The world mocks you. People hate you. They resent you. What aren't you going to stand up for yourself? I don't see any prophets. I don't see any miracles or wonders from you. And so David's almost having this heart cry out where he's like, God, it feels like you should be defending yourself here. The world hates you and mocks you. Your enemies get stronger. And it just seems like you're silent in the midst of it. And so the biblical writers kind of wrestled with it. And so that's really you could say, the problem of silence. It's that you've got those promises that God's there and He cares. And yet at the same time, in how you experience and relational, it can feel one way. That's what I would say when I'm referring to when I talk about the silence of God in that sense.
Yeah, I get that. I guess as a new Christian, sometimes when we wrestle with things, with difficulties, where is God in this situation, whatever, it can be very comforting to read some of the Psalms, and the psalmist is like a bit angry at God. And it's like, are we allowed to do this? But to think, we believe that God has like superintended what ends up in Scripture. He's inspired things, and he's led His people throughout the centuries, throughout the millennia, to put these angry psalms at Himself, these angry songs, in this big compendium of authoritative of text about our relationship with God. So it's kind of comforting that God has decided that songs of anger and questioning are going to be in there, because it's a sign that actually He wants us to contend with Him, to ask Him these deep questions, and so we can.
I think it's really important, by the way, to be able to admit to it. And I know there can be a tendency in the church to not. People don't want to say that they struggle with God at times. And they try and hide it and always try and defend it and always try and defend the faith. And that's good. But you've got to be real with yourself at the same time, because people from the outside will see straight through that. So it's good to sit there and be like, you know what, I'm praying to God, I'm trying to reach out, but it does feel like I feel on my own. And there's got to be that heart cry there, I think, for people on the outside to see that you're still authentic about how you're navigating your Christian faith.